Hey everyone, so something about myself is I get bored way too easily. A couple weeks ago I was rummaging through my closet and I actually stumbled upon some of my old candle making supplies, so I thought it'd be a fun thing to spice up quarantine with. A little bit of backstory, I didn't always know how to make candles. In 8th grade, in fact, we had a Renaissance fair where they took the entire graduating class and they sectioned us up into groups of 5 people, and each group had to make something for the Renaissance fair. And I had friends that had to make weapons, I had friends that had to make jewelry, I had friends that had to make clothing, and I had to make candles. I wasn't really excited at first, but it's a fun thing to learn and it's a fun thing to pass on. So let's get into it. Basically, what you're going to want to start with is the wax, of course. You can buy a 10-pound block of wax for probably $30 on Amazon. Pretty simple. You would want to put that on medium to high heat. A 2-pound block would probably take 30 minutes to melt. Once you have everything melted down, that's when you would do your color. So I have this dye right here. It's just some normal dye I bought off of Amazon for $5. If you don't have this, which I bet a lot of people don't, you can just use crayons that are laying around. It works the same way. When you use the dye, you're supposed to cut the heat and then mix, but when you use the crayons, you of course don't want to cut the heat because the crayons have to melt. After that, you can put in some fragrances. I bought this from the same place. Also $5. Again, if you don't have this laying around, perfume works the same way. You can just add that. You're going to just want to mix that all together. Add as many drops as color or as fragrance as you want, really up to your particular taste. Then after that, it's the molds. Now, the mold I have is just this cylindrical metal one. I think it was $20 when I bought it a long time ago, and it came with the adhesive mold that you need to cover the bottom and the wicks, so all in all a pretty good deal. I've seen really intricate, beautiful molds, that, you know, all the way from roses to ones that you can mold little tiny people and cool things, but I'm just using this one. I assume most people don't have these just laying around, so I'm also going to be making a candle out of this. This is something pretty simple you can use. The one I'm using is much smaller, but anything like this is fine as long as it has a wax coating on the inside. A little bit of a safety tip, when you're pouring into these, the wax coating, like since it is paper, you're going to want to make sure your wax is a little bit cooled down, because if you pour it in too hot, it will start to bubble, and that affects the way the candle dries and everything after that, so that's just not that fun. But basically, yeah, it's not that complicated of a process. You would plug the hole with this one. It's even easier. You don't need to plug the hole because there's nothing to plug. You would put some Elmer's glue on the bottom of this. Most wicks that you buy, they come with a little metal attachment on the bottom. You can just put some glue on that, stick it down, wait for it to dry. You usually wrap this around a stick or a pencil of some sort. Just leave it there. Once you pour the mold, you should wait a number of hours for it to dry, at least 4. I would say overnight is probably the best, because definitely by the time you wake up it's going to be hard. You don't want to try to take it out of the container before it's dry. You're just going to mess everything up. To take it out of these, it's a little simple. You basically just, you know, once it's poured, once it's dry and everything, you just slowly rip off the paper. This one is a little more complicated. You usually run something like this under hot water and then just slowly try to pull out the candle. I actually have 2 examples. So this is the candle that I made out of the small container. It actually turned out pretty well, as you can see. And this is the candle that I made in this container. It's pretty satisfying. You just let it slide in there. Oh wow, look at that. So yeah, all in all, a pretty fun thing to do, not very complicated. You can really mix and match, do whatever you want with them. Give them as gifts, yeah, no, it's a really fun, versatile skill that after you learned it, you really don't forget how to do it. So yeah, that's basically how you make a candle. I hope you guys had fun watching, and I hope I answered all your questions. If you want a list that's a little more in-depth and actually just written, candlemaking.com is a great website. The title's pretty self-explanatory. You'll find everything you need there. So yeah, thank you very much, and see you guys next time.